show this right away. Want to show the... Oh wait, are you seeing the chant? Yeah, okay, it's the right thing. I was seeing the wrong thing on my screen. And you can hear the harmonium,
Thank you as always, Francis. Hello everyone. Hi Lulu. Hi Elizabeth. So today Francis is gonna lead us through the first half of the Sandhi chapter. And we based this class really on the golden rules that Professor Bryant went through. If you watch the first class, I'm not sure if it's in the first or the second half because we're going to split it into two, but he kind of spent 20 minutes just going through the golden rules of what we really need to kind of remember. So we've based this on that rather than, the whole chapter. So, and I just wanted to say, if you would like the handouts that Frances has obviously got her lovely charts, but also I type up my notes. They might be of use if you would like to receive those after each lesson. Just send me an email and I'll add you to the list. Yeah, that's it. I think I'll just hand over to Frances.
Okay, so yes, as Alice said, we're going to review, and I believe this was in the second half because we went through, if my memory serves, we went through the whole chapter, and then, there's so many rules in there to remember, and Professor Bryant really pointed out the ones that he thought were key for us to focus on. So those are the ones we've chosen to review. Absolutely, like the entire chapter would take too long, but of course, if there are any specific questions, we can get to those if we have time. Oh, I know my document I have to search for is down here. Perfect. To go back and reshare. So the way I've set my document up is there are some things that I thought were important to sort of review in between the golden rules, or there's examples that, of the golden rules. So there are extra things in there that I left, but the golden rules are the ones that I highlighted, the ones that he circled. And I mean, if you have other things circled in your book that maybe I missed, you can also let me know. So starting pretty simple with coalescence, the beginning of the chapter or the lesson. Two simple vowels of the same pair form the long vowel, regardless of the vowel's length. So any combination will lead to a long vowel, whether they're both short, or one is short and one is long, or if both are long. So plus plus you get the picture, all the different combinations here. But two dissimilar vowels where the first is or regardless of length, leads to coalescence. So here we have a long a long e becoming a short a short u becoming o, plus r, the vowel r becoming ar, and so on and so forth. Note, complex vowels I and ow may be regarded as the long form of the complex vowels A and O, respectively. We remembered that from our vowel chart. U, A, ow, A, I, O, ow. So the I as long form of A and the ow as long form of O. And then he had vowel strength in there as something to definitely remember, because later on when we have to do internal sandhis, these sorts of things, there is strengthening of the vowels. So here we have the vowel a and a. When they strengthen to a guna, it remains the same, so it's its own guna, a and a. And then when it vridis, it's long a. So this is kind of like strong and then stronger or more expanded sound. We have E becoming A for guna, becoming I for vridhi, U becoming O for guna, ow for vridhi, and R becoming ar or ar, longer a, for vridhi. And this isn't in the book, but Professor Bryant had suggested that we could also include the semi-vowels within this chart if we wanted to make it for ourselves, because there are rules where the vowels will become their semi-vowel. We'll see those as we go down. So just good to know which semi-vowels are paired with which vowels. So the E becoming ya, the U becoming v, and the r becoming ra. All good so far, I think. Two dissimilar vowels, and the first is not an a vowel, long or short. The first vowel changes to its corresponding semi-vowel. Just reviewed those. Complex vowels. A is the guna of the E and represents a plus E. I is the vridhi of E and represents long a plus E. O is the guna of U and represents a plus U. And then ow is the vridhi of U and represents a plus U. Okay. Is everyone okay? I'm just checking. Yeah? So far? Okay. We can, okay. I'm not going to anticipate too many things, so I get through everything. We can go over questions later. Oh, you know, what is a good thing as I go through this, if you do have a question, you can just like note it down, 3-point whatever, and you can ask it at the end. Okay. When one of the four complex vowels occurs before a vowel sound, two processes take place. A, the complex vowel is analyzed into its components, and B, the final E or U element is changed to its corresponding semi-vowel. Then we have internal sandhi examples. So examples for this point 3.12. Formation of jayatu is the example in our text. The dhatu, the root of jayatu, is G. Its first gana, parasmaya pada. This we learn in the 7th lesson about ganas and verbs, verb conjugation. So the gana sign is a, and the guna of the root vowel in all forms where possible. So these are the sort of rules for this gana group, for first gana. You add an a and you also guna the root of the vowel. So here we have the vowel E. We learned that the guna of the vowel E is A, right? And then you add a at the end of that. So we have J, because the E became an A when it gunated. And then you add the a. These are all parts of the rules of that first gana group of verbs. But when you add A to a First, you have to break up this complex vowel A into its parts, which we learned up here. A is A plus E. So instead of A here, it's all math, you see. Instead of A here, this becomes A plus E, but then we add this other A. And when we do that, well, this E, which is part of that complex vowel A, becomes a Y. So then we get A-ya. And I put it in transliteration as well. A becoming A plus E, and then we add this A, and it becomes a Y. This E turns into a Y in front of the A. So instead of J-a-tu, we get Jaya-tu. When we conjugate this verb, I believe this is imperative. I don't want to, we'll get to that later. See 7.14. This is later, as you can see. Okay, and then we see how we form bhu same way. Bhu, the dhatu, the guna sign is the guna of the root vowel. So same rules as above, but here the u goes to o. The o, when we're adding the a, we have to break it up into its parts, which are I'll do the translate. A and u, and then this u, when it becomes its semivowel, becomes a va. So bho plus a plus tu actually becomes bhavatu. Bhavatu. Okay. Is that good? Am I going slow enough for everybody? For the 4 people that I can see in my window right now? Okay, perfect. Thanks, Alice, for the thumbs up. Okay, and then we have here, final O. So these are examples, and this is why it's not in the yellow, the golden rule yellow, but examples of this rule. And then this extra note, final O, except as the result of another Sandhi operation, what we're getting into later, is not common in word final position. So just something to note. This process is obscured by external Sandhi, by the important rule, this process, I believe they're talking about this one above. Ya, element of the complex vowel A, is lost before a word initial vowel other than short a. This is a rule we'll see later. And in the case of I before any vowel. So the ya, the E becoming ya when the Sandhi happens, but if it's before another vowel, any other vowel but a, that ya will disappear and it'll get dropped. Okay, so we'll see clear example of that when we go down 3 to 320. External Sandhi, or maybe they already have one here. Yeah, okay, he does one right away. Perfect. An external Sandhi example. Sarve plus Indra. Sarve plus Indra. So that Svarge plus Indra. Oof, it's early in the morning, clearly. The A at the end of Svarge breaks up into A plus E. Before we add this E. And then you get Svarga plus E plus Indra, but because of this rule up here, this ya drops, it goes away. So instead of it being Svarga Indra, it just becomes Svarga Indra. And this is a thing when we end up doing, looking at translations and this sort of a thing, something that we would notice because we would ask ourselves, why these two didn't Sandhi according to that other rule, the 3.4 rule above, why this didn't become Svargendra, and it'll say it, I think I put that further down, but you only go through, for vowels, you only go through one pass of Sandhi. You don't keep re-Sandhiing afterwards. So anyhow, this would, 2 vowels next to each other would give you a clue, like something happened here, because normally 2 vowels wouldn't just sit next to each other like this. 2 words, yeah. Okay, and this is another example. So this was an example with A, and then this is an example with I. And it says in the case of I, before any vowel, whereas with A, the y dropped only before a short here, before any vowel, this would drop. They still used short in the example. But so we have tasmai plus adadat becomes tasma. Note this is the long plus e, right? Because this is the more, this is the longer version of A. So when it breaks up, it's long plus e. And then the e becomes ya, but again, because of the rule, the ya drops. And this would have dropped even if this next word started with another vowel other than a. Yeah?
Francis, I don't mean to interrupt, but
Yeah.
did you change your mic over? Because I can just hear like a,
Oh, yes, I didn't change my mic over. Thank you so
and I
much.
know that will bug you when you
It will.
watch it back.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Alice knows me so well by now. Thank you. Yes, it is my air conditioner. It's still hot here, and well, it's going up and down in Montreal, so it feels like summer today. So the air conditioner is on. Okay. Note, this is what I was saying previously. When the vowel sequence occurs as a result of a Sandhi rule, so this vowel sequence came about because a Sandhi happened already, or a series of Sandhi rules, it is permitted to remain. In other words, in the case of vowels, so important to note, in the case of vowels, only one pass through Sandhi rules is valid. One must not subject the resultant sequence to further Sandhi. So this is particular to vowels. There will be times where you'll have more than one Sandhi for consonants, but not for vowels. This tripped me up initially because I was like, wait, more than one Sandhi happened. But this is specifically for vowels, only one pass through Sandhi. So this is why we then don't go and re-Sandhi this into A plus E equals A, because it's already passed through a Sandhi rule for the vowels. Okay. 320. In the case where a final A immediately precedes a short so notice here, this was the rule for any vowel other than short So now we're finding out what's going to happen to A if it does precede short And in this case, the A remains unchanged. And then the frequently unstable in initial position, is lost. So here we have te abruvan, and it becomes simply te bruvan. This disappears or becomes elided. And it becomes an avagraha, which is what this is called, avagraha. In transliteration, it's an apostrophe. This is the same here. Bharateshe avasat becomes bharatadeshe. Ooh, this should have a duh here. Bharatadeshe vasat. Yeah, the disappears and the a remains. Right? So it doesn't go through the plus e, all of this stuff, just a, and then the goes away. Okay. Pragrihya vowels. Certain vowels in certain restricted environments are not subject to the above rules, and they are called pragrihya vowels, and are as follows. Vowels e, u, and a, when they serve as dual endings. The e of the pronoun me, the vowels of particles or interjections. Dve kanye agachata, dve kanye agachata. The two girls come. Well, in this case, because it's dual and there's no Sandhi. Yeah. For the a and the right? And then hey Aryaputra, hey is an interjection. So this also doesn't Sandhi with the following Vowels in absolute final position. Any vowels, long or short, simple or complex, may occur in absolute final position. These are consonants that can appear in absolute final position. So there are only certain letters that will appear in absolute final position. So any vowels are fine, although we did have that note about O earlier. And then here for consonants, these are the ones you'll be able to find in absolute final position of words. Non-palatal stops, sparshas, of the vargas other than palatal, talavya. So palatal is the second mouth position, just a little bit, right? We did our little fan last time. I don't know, you can't see my hand really well, but your index, second mouth positions are just a little bit in front. First is straight up from the throat. Second mouth position is just a little bit in front of that. So any of the vargas, mouth positions, other than that second, only the first non-voiced, non-aspirated of each varga is possible in absolute final position. Only the first, unvoiced, unaspirated. So these are the examples. Ka, ta being in third mouth position, tha, fourth mouth position, dental, and ba, labial mouth position. If others of the series, with either or both of the features of voicing and aspiration occur as original finals, they are replaced by the first of the series. So a ka would be replaced by k, or a ga, or a gha, right? Anything else in its varga. I don't know how well you can see my chart. It'll be replaced by just the first, or looking at everything other than palatal. Well, in this main sparsha section. Sparsha means contact consonants. This big middle block section of the alphabet is your sparsha section, your contacted consonants, because they make contact in the mouth. Yeah. Okay. So anushtub would not remain bh at the end. It would become anushtup. Or suhrut would become suhrut with a t instead of the d at the end. But for palatal stops, so this second row specifically, palatals cannot appear in absolute final position. Absolute final position, original final. So ch, the original final ch will become k, or original final ch will become ta or ka. I believe that's what that is. Hang on, just really quick. This is point 3.25. Please let me know if as hard as I work on these charts, if I missed anything. Okay, no, that's what it says in the text. Ooh, there's something in that chat. Sure. Okay, just checking. There's questions in it. Okay, great. Original final s, or s is a sibilant. It's down here. Original final s the most common of the consonantal original finals, s, becomes visarga in absolute final position. Nasals, m and n, are very common in absolute final position, but are subject to a number of important changes. We'll see those Sandhi rules later. Original final r becomes visarga and behaves in some environments like original final s. See that later as well. Then original final consonant clusters. Original final consonant clusters are reduced to the first consonant of the cluster. So we wouldn't have gachant, we just have gachan. The last consonant would be dropped. So words won't end in a cluster. Yeah. Lulu.
Yes, I have a question. So when we talk about absolute final, that's the end of a sentence, right?
Yeah, the end of a sentence. Let me just look really specifically at how.
So we're going through verses, and their verse has 4 lines. So is absolute final the end of a line or the end of a verse?
definitely at the end of the verse. And I think usually, so it's when we see like in the Bhagavad Gita, it gets separated into 4, but those are padas, like those are half lines. So
Yeah.
the end of a line would also be the end, and then the end of the verse. So yes, my answer is yes. The end of the line and the end of the verse are considered ends.
all absolute.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, like if you look here really, really quickly at our, do I still have it open? At our chant, for example, right? Here it's Narayana, well, Namaskritya, I mean, you can finish in an anyhow, but Naram Chaiva Narotamam, right? But all these other, and we haven't looked at this yet in the Sandhis, but all these other, this is Naram, this word, but it became Narang, it became an Anusvara because of the following consonant, right? But in this case, because it's the end of a line, it ended in M instead of another, because this is absolute final for this line. Does that make sense, Lulu? Yeah, it didn't become before the d, right? So this ended this line and this ended the verse. Actually, this should be, now that I'm looking at this should be 2 lines. Anyhow, I'll fix that later. Sorry, Alice knows about my OCD. It should be the first line should have the 1 line at the end of the verse should have the 2 lines. Anyhow, hopefully that was helpful.
I'm not entirely sure about this. I think it's any final in any word. Because
Any
if you
final
say, you know, Ramas as a nominative, for example, you know, you don't say Ramas, you say Ramaha, because the S as a final in a word, right?
Well, right. If the word is on its own, you also, I think, list it as, here, let me just read, but this is a good point, Paolo. Thank you. So when it says here, when we refer to a word final sound that has no other sound following in the sentence as at the end of the sentence, or a single word cited by itself, we say that the sound is an absolute final position. So you would say that, is that what you're meaning to say, Paolo? Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
but
yeah.
this is a good
I think
distinction to make.
Dallas as well is it left a message in the chat as well. Yeah, I think he's with me.
Yeah. So that's correct, right, Paolo? What I just said, that's what you're referring to when the word's also cited on its own.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I thought Lulu's question was in the context of within a verse, which is why I said it that way. But yes, this is good. This is good to point out. And he does mention that in the text because it can get kind of confusing sometimes, especially once we start getting into Sandhis. So that's a good section just to note. I mean, I didn't put it in because it's so long. I didn't put it in my notes, but it is 3.22. If you ever are unsure for yourself, what does absolute final versus original final mean? You can go to 3.22, and I often go back to it myself because I'm like, wait, what is original? What's absolute again? You know.
Oh no, you've done an amazing job. I don't know. I mean, you've done an amazing job here. I mean, I've never had the patience of following Goldman on the Sandhi rules, to be honest.
Yes. I know, and Sandhis can be pretty, and they're so important in being able to understand, well, you know, what words you're dealing with, because how they blend together can lead you down and if you don't figure out the Sandhi, it can lead you to look up the wrong words. So yeah, super important.
Sylvia, your voice has gone funny again.
Yeah, Sylvia, you're doing your chipmunk thing again. Yeah. So sorry. Yeah, either you can write.
Did you log out and log back in last time? I don't know how you fixed it, but it fixed, didn't it? Oh yeah, so she'll come back and ask.
Poor thing, every time.
I know, every time.
Okay, when she comes back, she can also put the question in the chat if it happens again. So yeah, all of this is, I know it's like very wordy and all this sort of thing. So I made myself a little chart. This is not in the book, but these are all possible letters in absolute final position, all the vowels, Visarga as well. All of these is the beginning of these vargas other than the palatal. This palatal would go to ka. This palatal would go to ra or ka. R going to H or S going to H, and then I just asterisked N, sorry, I shouldn't, or M. My teacher is very specific about not referring to Sanskrit letters by their English names. So N or M, have special cases depending on their environments. So I just put those in asterisk.
Did you want to ask again, Sylvia? I just noticed that you're back.
Oh, she's back.
Yeah.
Yes. Do I sound better now?
You do, yay.
Okay, I don't know what's going on. Can I just ask you, Francis, to repeat, sorry about that, the answer that you gave to Lulu about
Yes.
S becoming Saṅga. And
We didn't.
Did you say in final position as the end of a line or end of the verse in specifically?
Yeah, absolute final position. Yeah, the end of a line is like considered, that word is like the end that it'll take an absolute final. And so does the end of the verse. It's kind of like
Thank you.
First sentence, second sentence sort of a deal.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so now we're into Visarga Sandhis of original final S. Yeah, so original final is what the word originally had. I know it sounds obvious, but the original final of the word. But as we saw, original final, the S can't end a word, right? It becomes Visarga. So changes to original final S. It can be replaced with Visarga, H, or with a semivowel R. So I guess I could also put technically R in my little chart up here. So H or R, original final S among the most common original is among the most original final sounds in the language. And usually is absolute final H. Did I miss an is in there? Okay. I'll type that afterwards. So then here we have 329. So this is, again, original final S, following any vowel but A or A. So these are any other vowels. Yeah. So a non and and this is how I learned it, and I think how many people have learned it, that these are Visarga Sandhis. And I know that it's original final S, but it's because in its absolute final, or when it's listed on its own, the word will be shown with a Visarga, with a H. So these are sometimes referred to as Visarga Sandhis, non-A or A Visarga Sandhi. And Professor Bryant refers to these as such at times. So it's good to know that's what he's referring to. Original final S becomes Visarga in absolute final position. Again, just repeating we've seen before. So Agnis would not be just shown like this at the end of a sentence, or on its own, it would be shown as Agni or Agnihi, depending how you think he likes the repeating. Goldman likes to repeat the preceding vowel. So Agnihi. Final S before any, sorry, I'll just repoint out that this is after E, right? This is not an vowel in this word, yeah? Final S before any voiced initial, again, other than any vowel or any voiced consonant become, oh, sorry, no, don't forget what I said. Final S before any voiced initial, any vowel or any voiced consonant becomes R. Agnes plus Iva becomes Agnir, Iva. Vishnos plus Ayudham, Vishnor, Ayudham. Yeah. So all of these vowels here preceding the S are non-A vowels. But if the next word starts with any vowel or a voiced consonant, or here's an example down, well, these are two examples, N and G are voiced consonants, then the preceding S becomes a R, right? So all of these became R. Note if the following sound is also R, which is voiced. To avoid the sequence R, there is further change. The first R from the s, is lost, and the preceding vowel, if short, is lengthened. Yeah. So in this example, agnis rochate became agnir, because this vowel before the s is not an a. The following word starts with a voiced sound, r, and we get agnir rochate, but two ras can't sit next to each other like this. So this initial ra for the initial word here becomes, I should be careful how I word this. The ra from this first word disappears, and then we get agni rochate, but then this e, which was formerly short, now becomes long. Agni rochate. I know, how fun is that? So many things happening in just one rule. Yeah, but we can see how it happens. Yes, and then, yeah. Okay. What a pain. I don't know if I must have seen this. This would be a tricky one if I saw this in a verse, to be honest. It would probably trip me up. Not one that I'm very familiar with. Original final s before non-voiced initials. So this was a voiced situation. Non-voiced initials varies according to to two categories of following initial. Okay. So stops, sparshas, of the three vargas in the same mouth position of the three non-voiced sibilants. Oh, goodness. Okay, I'm going to break this down for you. Okay, the sibilants, vargas, and non-voiced stops are, all right. So stops, sparshas again, this main big block, these are sparshas, the contacted consonants. Of the three vargas in the same mouth position of the three non-voiced, okay, this is extra, of the vargas in the same mouth position of the sibilants. The sibilants are these ones down here, the hissy sounding ones, sh, sa. So the sparshas, this main block, that have the same vargas, the same mouth positions as the sibilants, which are down here. Well, ha is also a sibilant, technically, yeah. Sh, sha, sa, ha. Okay. The sibilants, vargas, and non-voiced stops are sh, ta, lavya. So, because just so you know, all the sibilants are not voiced. So I don't know if that's, well, I guess because he's talking about non-voiced initials, right? Okay, fair. All the sibilants are non-voiced. So sh is in the second mouth position. This is ta, lavya, palatal. And so then it goes to ch, all right, stop, sibilants, vargas. Okay. The sparshas that are on that same mouth position are ch and ch. And then sh in its mouth position, we have da and ta. These are our third mouth position. And then sa, the dantia, we have t and ta. Okay, so this is one category that we need to pay attention to. And then all other non-voiced consonants. So there's two things that happen in these two situations. Yeah. So we need to pay particular attention to the sparshas in the same mouth position as the sibilants. So second, third, and fourth. And then all the other non-voiced consonants, again, in that main block. Hopefully that was helpful and not more confusing, but move on to examples, and then maybe that clears that up. So in the first case, in the case of sparshas that are in the same varga as the sibilants. Original final s becomes the sibilant corresponding to the varga of the following initial. Original final s, right? This is what all this category we've been doing so far. And again, this is following any other vowel other than a, becomes the sibilant corresponding to the varga of the following initial. So in these cases, these are the sparshas in that second, third, or fourth mouth position. Here we have a ch, which is second. So this s will take on the sibilant that corresponds to the mouth position of this consonant, which I just said is second palatal. So it takes on the sh, same mouth position as this ch. Yes, in this case, Vishnos, Chaya, oh, it's the same mouth position again. So both of these, this is just unvoiced, this is unaspirated and this is aspirated. That same mouth position again. So both of these became second mouth position, sh. In this case, tikam, this is third mouth position. So the s takes on sha, sha in the third mouth position where you curl your tongue into your mouth. So it becomes harish tikam karoti. Here, this is fourth mouth position. So fourth mouth position, there's no change. It just stays as sa. Of the above 6 stops, ch, ch, ta, 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 only ch, ch, and ta are really common in word initial position. So the most frequent changes you'll see is for the sa is it becoming sha or remaining sa. This is good. All right, excellent. All right, so that was in the first case scenario, right? Any of these sparshas that are found in the same mouth position as the ushman, the sibilants. So here, original in the second case, so all the other ones now we're looking at, all the other non-voiced sparshas in this main block. Original final sa before all other non-voiced word initials is changed to visarga. So this is all unvoiced, other unvoiced letters of that main block. So haris pashyati becomes harish, or yeah, harish pashyati, and then harish kanati, same thing. Pa and ka both are unvoiced, and they they're not in a mouth position corresponding to the sibilant vodkas, because this is fifth and this is first. Yeah, so not 2, 3, or 4. Okay, so this is what happens to sa when it follows the original final sa following any other vowel other than a, and now we are looking at what happens specifically to when it follows a or any vowels. The endings us and as are of extremely common occurrence, therefore it's important to learn the forms these endings take before the various kinds of word initials. Original final s after a and behaves the same way as the original final s after other vowels in absolute final position and before non-voiced initials. Where they differ is before voiced initials. Okay, I'll say that again. Original final sa after a and behaves the same way as original final sa after other vowels. So it'll be the same as what we've just seen before above. In absolute final position and before non-voiced initials. So this is what we've just seen. But note where they differ is before voiced initials. So before any vowels or before any voiced consonants. So here's an example. Ramas pashyati becomes Ramah pashyati. So this is the same as what we just saw because it's unvoiced. It just becomes visarga. Yeah. Ramas sitam, Ramah sitam pashyati. And then we have Ramas chalati becomes Ramash chalati. So here is our second mouth position. So it takes on the sibilant in the same mouth position for this one. Let's check example 3.33 really quick. Rama sitam pashyati. Yeah. Okay. 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 I created a question in my own brain, but this is what it says in the text. I'm moving on. So a and non-a visarga sandhis follow the same rules. It's just repeating the same thing as up here because Professor Bryant pointed it out. So I wrote it down. Follows the same rules as before in voice. We just need to know that they follow different rules when where there's a voiced initial following. So oh, and then becomes oh, okay. And non-a becomes a. Okay, maybe I'll come back to this point after we see these. This is a good thing to point out. Okay. Original final us before voiced initials undergoes one of two transformations depending on if the initial is any voiced consonant or the vowel short a or any vowel other than short a. So voiced or a versus other vowels other than a. Okay, and then we have examples here. So before voiced or short original final us changes to o, while a following initial short is also lost. Yeah, and examples. Ramas gachati becomes ramo gachati. Yeah, this is a voiced consonant. Yeah. Pashyatas ragnya becomes pashyato ragnya. And here, so these are voiced initial, oh, I'm giving a thumbs up accidentally. These are voiced initial consonants. And then we have here a short these examples, yes? Ramas ayam becomes ramoyam. So again, it became o, but the following is elided, becomes replaced by an avagraha or an apostrophe in your transliteration. Pashyatas arjunasya becomes pashyato. Pashyato Arjunasya. So Pashyato Arjunasya. Yeah. Okay. Before, is this okay? We're okay? Okay. Before, so this was before any voiced consonant or before any, or before the vowel or ah. Now, before any other vowels, but short just short I shouldn't have said long or any vowels but short Original final us becomes and the vowel hiatus remains unchanged. So this is going to be another one of those situations where you're going to see two vowels next to each other and wonder what happened. This is going to be a similar kind of situation. You'll know that some kind of sandhi occurred. Ramas and uvacha becomes rama uvacha. So just buddhas iva vidyaya, buddha iva vidyaya. So the sa just gets dropped and the vowel just stays. But this is because this vowel isn't short Had it been short it would be elided. It would disappear. Okay. And then we don't do 340, right, Alice? We're starting at 340 for the next one?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he, did he go up to 340? I can't remember. Whatever you think.
Okay. Well, it's 9:50. I think I'm gonna stop here. Let me just go back to this note actually, because
and it's nice to break it because it's a lot to take in, isn't it? So
yeah, I'm just wondering about this last one because here before a voiced it becomes o. Visarga sandhis follow the same rules. Unvoiced where they differ is voiced. So becomes o, but non becomes ra. Okay, maybe I'll just and this doesn't involve 340, so it's perfect. So in this, I'll just review this. So what we just saw is that with the visarga sandhis, when there's a voiced following, right? It's a voiced, it'll become o. So here it became o, whether it was a voiced consonant or short it became o. But when it's a non-a, so if we go all the way back up to when we were up here, where's my agni? Here, I say all the way, but it's not that far away because this is, okay, here. Following any vowel but a, then it becomes a r before any voiced initial. So this is how they're different. When the preceding vowel is other than a, it becomes a r. And when it is an a preceding the s, then it becomes an o. But in the unvoiced situations, they do the same thing, whether it's whatever vowel is preceding the final s. Does that?
Could you just
Is that
repeat
okay?
again, Francis?
Yeah.
Just like the
I'll
two.
do it again. Yeah. Let me do it again. So we were here. We just saw all the rules we just looked at together were when, go back here, when the original final s is after a vowels, right? Original final s after a vowel. So anything that ends in us. If all of the rules are the same, whether the word ends in other vowels like ich, is, or us, as the same for us when it's unvoiced. Where it's different is where there is voiced following. So anything with an us, if it's followed by a voiced initial, where's my little note here? Then it'll become O. So in all of these examples below, ramas, gachati, g, is voiced, so it became Ramo. Pashyatas Ragnya, it became O. Ramas Ayam, it became O. The next gets elided. That's like a separate part of that rule. But as you can see, in all these cases, the us became O. Yes? Before voiced, whether it's a voiced consonant or an Yeah, then there's other rules for other vowels other than but let's, these ones here, but we'll leave that. So it became O here, but then up here, when we were looking at of the final s following any other vowel but a, they all became r. So it was agnis iva, it became agnir iva. Vishnos ayudham, it became vishnor. Yeah. So in the case of other vowels preceding final s, when a next word is voiced, as followed by a voiced vowel or consonant, it became a r. But then when we went down and the vowel preceding the final s was an a, then it became an o preceding a voiced consonant or short a, and then it just had other rules here. It just remains when there are other voiced initials. Voiced initial vowels. Is that helpful? Or am I making it more complex? This is time now for questions. I think we'll do exercises actually, but I think that's like a good distinction to point out. Let's just see how many confused faces there are in the room. Are we good? Kind of, sort of. Do you have? I'm sorry, I keep doing thumbs up by accident. Does anybody have like difficulty determining what is voiced and unvoiced? This can sometimes be. Or is everyone okay with voiced and unvoiced? I think aspiration's pretty clear because you can see well, unless you're learning your Devanagari script, right? So you have to just know. But in transliteration, let's say, you can see the extra h in there. Voiced versus unvoiced, this is good because this is important when you're doing your rules. Thumbs up. Okay. No questions. I think we'll get into. Actually, do you want to do? Should we just? Yeah. Oh, Paolo, you're breaking up again.
I have a minor. Yeah, I think. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Oh.
Okay. Well, anyway, it's about 3:31.
Yes.
We established that there's 3 sibilants.
I know. Yes. Continue.
They have, the kind of belong to the same place of production of sound production.
Yes. Yes, keep going.
Now, in the two cases K and P, where there isn't any substitution, in fact, you could, most people, when they chant, if they follow, kind of proper enunciation, k, sound, and in the case of P, sound, sound. So basically, these two sounds, which are they are optional, but they are done in singing, they would fill those two gaps in terms of, do you know what I mean? They would fit. They're basically versions of Visarga, and they're called Jivha Muliya for the sound, and Upapadmaniya for the f sound. Now the f sound is almost like an F, but there is no fricative. So it's actually like, or it's almost like if you were blowing a candle.
Oh, okay. I actually didn't know this. I didn't know this. This is like an interesting point for pronunciation. Maybe you can
It's just
email.
little niceties.
No, it's
Little
great.
nicety that fills in the gaps, because then you have those two missing sounds.
That's great. Maybe you can send that, because I mean, I heard it, what you were saying, but it kind of broken up a little bit. So maybe you can send a note about that to Alice, because I've never heard about that.
And there is actually a mnemonic kind of sutra that goes through all these sounds. So I could send that as well, perhaps.
Oh, cool. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do.
Paolo, we can just tag that onto the handouts as well. That'd be really useful.
Yeah. People that want to be chanting, making sure their pronunciation is good. I'm one of those people. So thank you so much. I did not know about this. All right. So we thought we would do examples. And unfortunately, we all have different editions. So I think some of the examples aren't the same. So I'm doing what I have in my text. If you have an example that you're not sure of, we could do, you could put it in the chat, maybe. But I mean, I feel like some of these are just like super straightforward. We could do. Oh, wait, how do I, I'm like, do I do this in, let me see my board, Devanagari, or do I do it? I guess I should do both. Here, I'll do this example. Of course, I gave myself a compound consonant. Can you see that? Okay, I think that's, yeah. This could be a good exercise. Who can read this? Anybody? Hopefully my writing's okay. Yes, Elizabeth?
I was just saying that, yes, I could read it fine. I didn't have a question. Sorry.
No. Do you know what it says?
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry for this to be recorded, but I got a call and was looking at my phone.
That's okay. Ooh, good. This is a sa, but then with this.
And that's a T, ta.
Okay, hang on. So we have a sa. This is great. What's this when this gets
Ta.
tacked on? No, this is a danda with a flag. So this of the sa has become another vowel.
Is it an E?
It's an E. It's an E. Is it short or long?
Long.
Long. Thank you so much. And then you had ta. Excellent. Ta. And then there's a dunda next to your ta. So that makes it.
So it's a long,
Yeah,
long.
it's a long sita. Oh, there's the lights. My husband's away. Sita. And then here we have a.
I think that is an E. I'm sorry, I'm still
Yes,
looking.
yes, yes. No, no, no. It's right. It's E. Trust yourself. What's the next one?
And it's a cha.
Cha tacked onto a not my best looking, but this.
I'm gonna have to look that one up.
Who, or you can call a friend. Anybody else?
Somebody else, I'm sure, has all that down.
Could it
Maybe
be
it's my.
cha?
It's cha. Thank you so much. Cha. So you have cha. When you have a double consonant, you got to hang out there a little bit. Cha. And then
Another T.
T. And then the E here, because it's before the letter, is a short or long.
Long.
No, here was long because it's after. But here it's before. So it's short. That's okay. Short E. Sita ichati. Sorry, I should do my aspiration. Sita ichati. Ichati. Yeah. All right. So now we have these two words. And then what happens here?
Okay. I have to look this up, but a long A becomes a
long A plus an E. So you could look up the rule maybe, because we went through them, which number it is.
And no stress,
like that's okay. Yeah. No stress. Whoever finds it. So we can look through. This is early, so these are exercises for the rules between 3.1 and 3.9. So this is early in our review. A plus E becomes.
It should be a guna.
A guna becomes, and what's the guna?
Sitechati.
Sitechati. So we would look here. You guys can still see. Si. Te. My flags stand up a little bit more. Te. Cha. Ti. Si. Te. Cha. Ti. Yeah? Can you see that?
Frances, since I got this far, I am going to ask a question.
Ask the question.
When I was reading about writing the Devanagari, I always thought you wrote the whole line at the end of the word. But the way you've been doing this is you do each letter, you write the line at the top.
I learned this. I learned it that way from my teacher. She said you do left to right, top to bottom, most of the time. There's some exceptions. Left to right, top to bottom, cover the character last. But then, yes, another teacher saw me doing this and he was like, why are you doing it that way? Just do it all and put the line at the top. And I go, well, that's not what my teacher told me. So I'm just following what she said. But, because this other teacher said that you could do that, I mean, as you wish, I will say. But this is
I may well have read that somewhere, but you
potentially
find it better to just do it at the top of
well,
each letter.
you know what? I think I didn't ask her a specific reason. I think it's because if you go letter by letter, you can avoid mistakes a little bit more. You know, where does the bar come before? Does the bar come after? Because then if you're like, go in and then do all your flags and you know what I'm saying? It's good if you just do it one by one, I believe, to avoid any errors of where you're attaching your change of vowels and such. Yeah. All right, great. Should we do a more challenging one? Let's see. Okay. Not too challenging, but I have to also make it not too challenging for myself to write. Okay. Another one from this. Okay, here. This is a quick one to write. Okay. Who can tell me what this one says?
Iti aha.
Iti aha. Oh, so iti. Is this short or long over here? I know you know, Benita, but I'm just doing this for people who don't.
I can just read, but
yeah.
Small
Is this
e.
short?
Short, yes, short.
And then this?
This is long.
This is long, yeah. So iti aha. Iti aha. And then what would happen here?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Sorry.
Not sure. That's okay.
It's E and R.
It's E and ah. What happens to E and ah? And maybe we can find, oh, sorry, maybe we didn't say what the rule was for the last one. The last one, the ah plus E is rule 3.4, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe we should have done it like that and reviewed so it's more straightforward for people. So that was...
I put it in the chat, Francis.
You did? Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay. So here, up here. So it was an A plus E situation becoming A, right? It was a long A plus a short E, but regardless. So now we have an E meeting an A. And if you look in your rules, which one would that be? I think it's 3.8, I believe. Go back here. Two dissimilar vowels, and the first vowel is not an A, long or short. First vowel changes to its corresponding semivowel. And the semivowel of E is ya.
Yeah.
So we would get I. This is a conjunct. So for your conjunct, I just removed this part, the danda, right? And then I tacked on my ya, itya, but it's a long a. So for a long a, I would put a danda and then ha. So we have, is that what I put here? Must be, yes. I, ya, ha. Yeah, and this was rule 3.8. And these ones are going to be maybe, okay, these ones are going to be so long. We could just do one. Questions?
Sorry, could you go to the rule again?
Mm-hmm.
If E and R, could you say it again, please?
Mm-hmm. Two dissimilar vowels, and the first is not an ah vowel, right? Our example had E. Long or short, the first vowel changes to its corresponding semivowel. And E's corresponding semivowel is Y.
Okay.
Yeah? Everyone's good with knowing which semi-vowel goes with which vowel? Yeah. If you put like after iya, you get ya. If you put an after well, it's ua, but you support a little bit with a lip, and then you get va, uva, from u, and then ra, right? From r. You just add an sound afterwards. Yeah?
So we need to know the semi-vowels. So we need to know that.
Yes, which semi-vowel corresponds with which vowel in the same mouth position. Yeah, I is ya, u is va, r is ra. Yeah, and that was in our chart.
All right, thanks.
Okay, no problem. Okay, I'm going to do one of these long ones for you. Oh, why do they have to make these examples so long? Okay. Oh. Okay, might need to, I think I need to write this a little smaller. Hopefully you can still see because it's not going to fit. Ooh. See, this is when we run into these issues. Here comes 4. Yeah, still gonna need 2 lines. It's okay. Snuck it in. Okay. Whew. Can everyone see this okay? This is like
Yes.
not my. All right. What does the first word say?
Vane.
Va. Ne.
Asti.
Asti. Is this a short or a long
Short.
Short. Is this a short or a long e?
Short.
Short. Asti. E. Asti. This?
Iti.
Iti. And this?
Uktam.
Uktam. Right?
Short.
Vane. Asti. Iti. Uktam. So now we need to find out what happens to all of these vowels. So let's have, thank you so much, who is Vinita. Thank you so much. Let's have somebody else try. Yeah. What happens in this first situation between Vane and Asti? Am I going too long, Alice? How long do we have? An hour and a half, huh?
Yes, we have 15 minutes left, so we'll break out as soon as we finish this one.
As soon as we finish this one. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Great. A and A. You remember what happens with A? When A meets A? I have it here. It's a special rule. It's kind of tricky. I'll go back here.
Is that 3.13?
It's this one. It's 3.20. In the case where a final A immediately precedes a short the A remains unchanged while the frequently unstable and initial position is lost. Te abruvan becomes te Bruvan. So in our case, I'll write it in transliteration first. So we'll have vane. This a will go away. It'll become this little apostrophe. It'll be vane sti. And then here, these two e's, well, anyways, yeah, we'll do that. These two e's.
That becomes long.
That becomes long. That's pretty straightforward, yeah. D, D. That's a 3.3. This is a 3.20. This is a 3.3. And what happens here? These are two, we just saw this, two dissimilar vowels, right, Benita? We just saw two dissimilar vowels earlier. And what happened to the first vowel when we had two dissimilar vowels?
Became ya, is it?
It became a ya. Excellent. So this becomes a ya. And then we add on uktam. Vanestityuktam is what it becomes.
The 3.20 is important because, like Lulu, I think was going to say I was going to break that up into its components.
Yeah.
So it's
I know this is a tricky one. And I've seen it a lot when we do our exercises. Do we need to see me write? I think we maybe should break up in groups instead of seeing me write out vanestityuktam. Okay. We're 13 people today. So breakout rooms. And go and chat with your friends.
Nothing's happening yet.
Oh, sorry. I didn't open the rooms. Go ahead.